Oh my goodness, I wanted to make a video for you guys yesterday, midweek video. I tried to get it, and I didn't realize how much stuff went on, both in front of us and behind the scenes this week, until I started writing down what I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I'm in my truck. We're going to do some shifting around today. We're going to bring a couple of horses back from Pennsylvania. So yesterday, I took this truck and trailer to Pennsylvania, left the trailer there, had to rush back, and I wouldn't have had time anyway to bring Path of Totality home. We'll talk about her in a minute, but wouldn't have had time to take her home yesterday. You had to give her time to cool out, drink, and it would be very unfair to her to strip her bathroom and throw her in the trailer. That's not fair. So I left the trailer there. I'm going to pick up some horses today, bring them home, and then my plan is to take the 3 horses back to Ontario. I didn't have any of our own horses in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I had some catch drives, but I had none of our own horses in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I said, I'm going to go back to Ontario. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to again. And obviously, with having my wife and kids with me all summer and then not having them for 10 days, it gets a little lonely, right? So I'm going to take those 3 horses home. Also, I could have shipped them home, but I couldn't get a COVID test and PCR test until this morning. So I got thinking, Jesus, how am I going to do this? And then it dawned on me, if I'm shipping them home, I don't need it. I'm exempt as a shipper. So I shipped horses across before for someone else, like under a company name, but I've never done it myself. So I got to call some shippers and double check the information. I have all the information. I have it all, but I need to double check it all. So I believe I'm going to head back to Ontario for the weekend. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. So that's my plan right now. So I have the truck. I'm going to hook onto the trailer, bring the horse home, and then go to Ontario. Man, oh man, we had so much to talk about. I did my video the other day, and it didn't dawn on me till after. I did get to stand beside Ron Burke for 10-15 minutes the other day, and we just talked about a number of things. And obviously the first thing I wanted to talk about was globetrotting. I hadn't had a chance to have a face-to-face with him about the filly, and I told you guys it's easy for me to say, he just doesn't text me back. But man, we have a big burn, but it's not as big as Ron Burke's, and he's got a lot on his plate. And getting a message from Anthony McDonald saying, how's the mare, not probably on the top of his list of things to give a shit about. So it was tough to get the information, and I was really happy to sit down. I said to him, I wanted to talk about the hobbles, no hobbles, what his take on that was. I wanted to talk about his overall thought process when it came to globetrotting, and I didn't get very far into the conversation, and he said, let me stop you. He said, I'm going to tell you something. That is an extremely fast horse. He said, she's going to be a really good 5-year-old. And he said, she's going to be a good 4-year-old. She's not staked to anything. He said, which is fine. He said, she's got a huge turn of foot. He said, honestly, that's the type of horse we look for to breed, because that's it. He said, they got that freakish, high-powered turn of foot. He said, she's fast. He said, the hobbles are simple. He said, we don't always get the drivers we want. We can't always get Matt or somebody else. And even though they're great drivers, it's hard to explain how a horse needs to be driven. George Brennan won 1 billion races and won a lot of big races. She makes a break on him. Then Todd McCarthy, another young up-and-coming driver with a good set of hands. He said, I think she just needs them to steady her. All right, I can't really disagree with anything he just said. Anything that Ron Burke said, I can't really disagree with it, right? I know globetrotting. Matt Kikali got along good with her, but he can't always drive her, right? So to say to Todd McCarthy, you just got to watch her, kind of let her grind up into gear, and then you're good. You can't just pitch the lines at her finishing up. It's not easy. It's easy to tell them that, but when you sit behind her and she feels so powerful, you figure that there's no issues. But there is. You saw her make that break on Yannick halfway down the lane at the Meadowlands. She was the winner. There was no stress. You're home and cooled out. You just got to coast away. She rolled off. So he believes that the hobbles would be needed just to help steady her, give her confidence, and just give her a little help when it comes to driver to driver to driver. You're right. I did not want the hobbles on her, but everything he said is correct. I can't argue with anything. I wasn't looking at it from that way. So he's correct in that regard. He thinks that she's going to have a very bright future and be a very, very nice mare and probably be a great brood mare. He said, I took the time to look up her pedigree, to look up everything. He said, I like this mare. So I was glad to hear that. It obviously warmed my heart a little bit. I thought maybe, it would be like, yeah, she's okay, fast, but makes those breaks, not really sure why. We're trying to work on it. Doesn't really instill a lot of confidence in you. But to hear him gush over a horse that he doesn't own in a massive burn that he does, it was helpful. It helped. And I was very grateful to get the time to talk to him about it. So I left that area. We were up the fence watching horses race. He's literally watching Herta Chewbacca race, talking to me about globetrotting. So it made me feel good. Made me feel good about the situation. Obviously, a win would make me feel better. But we'll see what happens with her. And then it was brought to my attention by my lovely wife that I didn't talk about 3-point blue chip qualifying Tuesday in my video that I did. I'm still in protection mode when it comes to 3-point blue chip. I don't want people to read too much into a winning qualifier. I don't want them to draw lines between a qualifier and the Breeders' Crown and the Valley Victory. I just want them to let him be him. I know we paid a lot of money for him. I was there. I did it. You don't have to tell me. I like this horse, but he scares me in the sense that he could become any kind of horse. This is a horse for James McDonald to drive. Make no mistake. I could drive him, but I would have to turn off every voice in my head when I was driving him. It would have to be an effort in focus for me to drive him. I'm not geared the same way James is. And that's good. It's worked very well for James, and I'm very happy for him. Make no mistake, this is a horse for James McDonald. I can drive him, but he's built for James. Cover, 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 attack. That is him. And I was happy, a little shocked, but very happy also to hear Mark, my brother Mark, who also drives a number of Walners and has the best one in the world right now, talk about the Walners and how fragile they can be. Maybe not necessarily in a bad way. I gotta be careful what I say. I don't want to misrepresent what anybody has said to me. I can only see from the horses we have. Unbeatable Kemp and 3-point blue chip are horses that you have to be careful with. They are fragile in the sense that they can, get a little cranky if you put them in a position. Put them on the front training, and I suspect racing. Come first over, uncover them, expose them early. I don't think it'll end well for you. Unless you're sitting behind the best one in the world. If you're doing that, sorry, I can't take it right now. If you're doing that, then that's different. But when it comes to an everyday, run-of-the-mill, nice horse by Walner, it seems from the people I've talked to, a lot of them have the same tendencies, that I will be happy to do my work on my terms. And that is the type of attitude, I don't love it, but, if you drive this horse or the other colt in the wrong manner, you will end up with a poor result. We already saw that with Unbeatable Kemp. We've already seen it. You drive him in the right manner, and you can get a favorable result. And we've already seen that with Unbeatable Kemp. Now, the qualifier by 3-point blue chip was perfect. James drove him perfect. He looked perfect. He acted perfect. We had him to the vet after. The vet injected his hind ankles. She thought his hind ankles were bothering him. Great. And I really thought, when I talked to Tom Grossman, Blue Chip Farms, who still has a small piece of this horse, and I spoke to him and said, I think we need another qualifier. Just take good care of him. James disagreed. He said, another qualifier is not going to help him. You've been in 2 minutes with him 3 times. I've been in 2-1 last quarter in 28. The qualifier is this time of year with 2-year-olds. In June, they're prepping for stakes. 2-year-olds qualifying this time of year are either okay or they're just getting there. Same type of situation. Maybe they were injured early. They're not going to be, 57, 27, and 3 on the end of it. You're not going to see that in the 2-year-old qualifiers. You're going to see what you saw the other day, a quarter in 31 and a piece. A mile and 2-1. He was up the quarter in almost 33 seconds. Tried his last 3 quarters in 128. He looked good. And again, James is right in that account. So we put him in to go Tuesday. 3 Point Blue Chips, first lifetime start for us, will be on Tuesday. Since Jason had him over here, I left Jason with him. Now Amy is there with the horse, taking care of him and working with the horse, but he is under Jason's care for Tuesday's race. Now another horse I told everybody to keep an eye on and take a look at is Duke Dio. I don't mean take a look at him and buy him. I don't know if there's any shares available, but this is a horse that I think has changed measurably, has changed a lot in the last little while. I trained him a good mile the other day. He's very, very close to qualifying again. I like what I see with this horse. Keep in mind, this is a horse, I believe, he's out of a sister to Donato Hanover. A regally bred, very royally bred, good-looking colt. I like everything I see with Duke Dio. Very, very happy with him, and he is almost ready to go right now. Path of Totality raced yesterday. Now, frustrating situation, a little bit of blood. She's on Lasix, and Lasix isn't magic. And although they gave her a diminished amount of Lasix, will giving her more help? I don't know. We're going to have to work aggressively. I'm going to bring her back to Ohio. We're going to work aggressively to try and dry her up. Now, by drying her up, you can use very mild amounts of dexamethasone is a very mild cortisone that doesn't test the same way other ones do, but you can't use it close to the race, but you can use it 4 or 5 days out. We can start with the dexamethasone to alleviate the stress on our lungs right now. There's some oral and homeopathic stuff we can put her on and hope that it helps. Maybe sodium iodide, something like that, to help try and keep those lungs dry so they don't spring a leak. And if this continues to be a problem, then I guess we may have to skip the remainder of August and September with this filly and wait until maybe a little chill comes in the air to continue racing her. I don't want to rest Path of Totality. The work getting back to the track on those knees is every bit as hard as the work staying racing. So I don't want to rest her, but if I have to, I will. So she did spring a little leak. I believe it's manageable. This week, by the looks of this list, has been a week of management. And we'll get to some more things in a minute. But Path of Totality coming home today. We're going to work on drying her up. She'll be back in to go probably within the next 10 days. Tanzanite Tricks has been fantastic since she got here, man. She looked good, eh? Eric Goodell drove her good, drove her very confidently. Think she's got 1 or 2 more wins in that class. And then what? I was looking at the stake races in Freehold. They start tomorrow. First leg is tomorrow, but there's some horses show 53 at the Meadowlands. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to watch the races from Freehold tomorrow. Now, if those horses that show 52, 53 at the Meadowlands, maybe they're not half-mile track horses. I think this filly would buzz around Freehold. So this is the plan for Trixie. She's coming off 2 wins and looking razor sharp. We are going to watch the horses race in Freehold tomorrow. 2 6 or 7 horse fields. First elimination, so she would have to, if we plan on going there with her, if those races look a little suspect, where maybe they don't look awesome, I suspect that won't happen. But if it does, we have the ability and the potential to ship her there and race her there next Friday. So we could potentially race her at Freehold next Friday. I wouldn't say that's on the top of my list of things to do. So I don't want to get your hopes up and say that's what our plan is. I suspect I'm going to watch Freehold tomorrow. They're going to go in 56, and a couple of them are going to look really, really good, and we'll be like, abort. That will not happen. That's not going to happen. I would say the latter is more likely, where we just focus on what's going on right now in Pennsylvania, looking at 2 really good wins from her, and she looks like she is brimming with confidence heading into next week. Where she races next week will depend on what I see tomorrow, but I would suspect, if you asked me what do you think will happen, I suspect she'll be racing back at the Meadows next Wednesday. Wait, now we got a problem. I just said it out loud. They race today. I'm going to watch Freehold today. I was going to say they draw tomorrow, so they will draw before the race. Freehold races today. We're going to watch them go today. Tomorrow they draw. Timo Houdini was scratched last night. My apologies. I didn't give anybody an update of what happened. Steve Boston's messaged me. I messaged him and said, hey, what happened with Houdini? I didn't know he was scratched. He said, I'm sorry. He said, I turned him out in the field in the morning. It was really hot out, and he really wasn't running around, but came in just drenched with sweat. He said, I think the heat just got to him. At that point, he said, Anthony, what am I going to do? If I truck him all the way to Grand River and race him in the heat, he might get the thumps. He might have a little sunstroke. He said, I really like this horse, so I just opted to scratch him. I said, okay, next time, give me a heads up so that my messages aren't coming in from our clients wondering why their horse is scratched, that I can preemptively say, sorry everybody, we're going to scratch the horse like we did with Massive Profit last night. Scratch the horse and not be able to race him. I guess worth updating you on Massive Profit. Irv said he seemed to have a little head nod. They x-rayed him and found an old chip. Now, we didn't x-ray him because we never had a reason to. He's always sound, but he has an old chip. I forwarded the x-ray to our surgeon in Ontario and our veterinarian in Ontario and said, what am I going to do with this? They said, is this bothering this horse now? So they knew right away also. The chip was old. I said, well, it appears to be today, not crippled lame, but it's bothering him. He said, well, we can take it out. So given the fact that he said a rather lackluster 2021, we're going to simply stop with him and take that fragment out. We did this last year with Pathway Totality. It's not really the end of the world. Had he been racing great, I think we could have muddled through. But given the landscape in Indiana and what's going on and how he's done, I think it just makes more sense to lay up, as they say in golf. Play it safe, take that fragment out, and focus on 2022. Now, Rose Run Why Not was awesome last night. We'll get into what took place last night. A couple of little updates for today also. Just greenness, I think, on the part of Rose Run Why Not last night. She was a winner in the last turn. I would have bet anything. I would have bet you any amount of money she was heading to the winner's circle last night at the 3/4 pole. Just got out of gear a little bit in the last turn, couldn't recover. Still trotted a very, very good mile, 57-1, 30-2, I think, on the end of it. But make no mistake, she should have won. But raced good. I noticed pulling up, her stifles were shaking a little bit. Not shocking. This is a filly with not a lot of race work into her. Go racing against Stakes Company that have had 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 starts. So it's not shocking that you could see a little wear and tear. So probably those stifles will inject them. What we do here in Ohio, inject them with iodine a little bit, put a little internal blister on them, tighten them up for a next start. That could be a fair, that could be, I haven't talked to Jason about it. Overall, very happy with what I saw from Rose Run Why Not. She's got a big engine in there. As long as we can keep her progressing forward, I think we got a big shot with her. I love this filly. Second was our girl, I'm a Lovely Lady, coming off a month of tough work. I got parked with her. She got stretched out behind a national seasons mark with Luke Ebersol, with that filly that raced, the Specs filly, Designer Specs, that raced in the gold the other day, or I guess it was the Breeders' Champion. No, it was the gold, it was Sire Stakes. So she was coming in with question marks, how much did that take out of her? She's got the 8-hole. You can be sure I'm not leaving with her last night. I thought she finished up well. Looked like a good rebound race for me. From what I could see, it looked like she raced well enough where I would say she rebounded well. So I was happy with I'm a Lovely Lady last night. Really pushed through good on the end of it. Just got beat for third, but closing in on them. A good mile for her, and then a great mile for Mama Knows Best. Of the three of them, that was the fastest mile, 56 and a piece. Her last two races have been great. That win at the fair was impressive and eye-opening, and then last night raced against some good horses. That was Gold Filly that won the race. Rose Run, is it Sydney? I think it is Rose Run Sydney. I think it is. Burke's filly, she's Gold Filly, Sire Stake filly, kind of middle of the road Sire Stake, but definitely maybe just a notch above the Buckeye, and that was a Buckeye last night. Mama Knows Best raced great. No complaints there. A great mile from her. A lot of people saying, what's next? Without seeing the schedule in front of me, I'm going to say fair next week, but we will see what shakes down the next week. But I would say, if you pushed me right now, where do those fillies go? I would say a fair next week. Now, Rose Run Why Not's a little different. She can race in the maiden, I believe, or at least in Amours 2. She'll race in the Amours 2 her next start. And then West 52nd. Hey, I'll take the blame. I had a very thoughtful and polite and respectful email from Greg, one of our more analytical clients. asking me why I didn't come first over. He broke down that the horses race good on the front. I don't mind him on the front. He's a coward, make no mistake. West 52nd is a coward through and through, but a decent racehorse. I didn't get off the gate as well as I wanted last night, and I don't want to be first over with him. If you look, when he comes first over, he might race good his next start, but shortly thereafter, somewhere around those first over lines, he starts to fall apart a little bit, right? He starts to get a little heartbroken about being first over and worked hard, and I just don't like him first over. I did think that maybe I could work out a trip where I could sneak my way out in the third quarter, get a crack at them. The two horses to beat are sitting up front. Now, why did I let Ray Fisher in the first turn? Simply because I thought he was the favorite. I thought he'd come again, right? Maybe I'll drop him in easy in the first turn, flush him out first over. I tried before we come out of the second turn, come into the half to get him out. It was pretty clear he was not coming under any circumstances. So, letting him in was an epic fail, and not getting him out really sucked. Now I'm fourth along the inside. I don't want to be first over. I didn't move him. It's my choice. I was going to be fourth halfway down the lane. I just give the lines a little shake and snapped him on the tail. It looked like he touched himself somewhere and rolled off. That was my fault. If I had just snapped him on the tail, left him alone, he's fourth easy. And then we say, hey, we'll race him next week. I just chose not to move the horse. And obviously, in hindsight, I guess I wish I had of. But that's the way it goes. I am not going to expose him because I know what kind of, as I said, he can be a coward. I know what it can lead to, and that is bad racing for 3 or 4 starts. So maybe bite the bullet, hope we get a little bit better trip next week, and race him harder next week. I suspect he'll come back with a good mile. He was locked in and was trotting at the wire. The week before, he shot up the inside for second. Although we didn't get any money last night, I think it's only a matter of time before we get all the money in this class, and then we run into a different type of problem. Then we don't fit this class anymore. And I think you're probably going to see West 52nd end up on gate after that. For now, he's racing good. Yes, Greg and everybody else, I wish, in hindsight, I had to come first over. But if you put me in a position to be first over with West 52nd or roll the dice staying in more times than not, I'm going to pick stay in. And that's just the way it is. I would have rather get away 6 with him. I'm leaving the gate. I said, if I push through, maybe I can get away second. No, I can get away third, but now I got to stay in and be first over, or I can let the favorite in and follow him. That only works when he moves him, and he didn't yesterday. So didn't get away as well as I wanted. Got away, tried to make the best of a questionable situation, and it ended up worst case scenario. My apologies. Now, I just got a message from somebody asking about So-and-Sue. Now, I'll tell you what. I trained her this morning. She trained awesome. I don't know much about her. I got the rundown from Mickey Burke. Mickey was very polite, very nice enough to sit there and talk to me about her for 20 minutes. When we're longer than half an hour. We're standing in the lineup. She throws her head. She's a goofball. She's this, she's that. Maybe he's right. They had a cord in her mouth. I put a dog chain on her today, and her mouth is ripped up a little bit from wearing that cord. So we vet wrapped up a dog chain and put it in her mouth. Yeah, she's got a tender mouth, as you can imagine. But wasn't that bad. I thought she trained rather good. We didn't make any changes. I don't know what she wore for equipment. I know, I think trot boots and knee boots from what I could see. But I just put an open bridle on her. And we put that martingale that we used to wear on a number of horses. We don't wear it on anybody right now. It just looks like a V in the front of their chest. Put that on her. She threw her head a little bit, but maybe she's one of those horses that get a little crazy when they see the gate. But with another horse training today, she was very, very good. She'll be entered in to go next week, and I am very impressed with So-and-Sue. So-and-Sue is her name. And the last piece of information to talk about, talk to Johnny, Tace, and Anthony. Any chance we can just race Resolute Bay in the Prospect instead of the Grassroots? It's going to be, I think he said it was going to be at Mohawk. It's going to be hard for him. I don't mind racing him at Grand River, George and Kawarthas, anywhere but Mohawk in the Grassroots. But I'd rather not race him in the Grassroots this week. If you race him in the Prospect, I said, yeah, go ahead. I happened to be talking to James about something else later on, and I said, hey, Johnny wants Resolute Bay in the Prospect, not at the Grassroots. He goes, yeah. He's not a Mohawk Grassroots horse, not right now. Maybe next year, not this year. He said, so yeah, he's probably right. So you're going to see Resolute Bay show up in the Prospect Series. I think Johnny said it was at Hanover next week. He will not be racing in the Grassroots. He'll be racing in the Prospect. We had turned a couple of horses out this week. updates on them. Garden State Dio went out to Dr. Haley Moore's farm. She's out on the grass right now. And Twinkle in Her Eye is done for the season. No particular reason. Johnny said she was over on the left shaft, a little bit rolly her last start. The veterinarian did some work on her, but I saw she was still a little bit rolly and off over on the left shaft in Sarnia in her last start. So I left it up to Johnny and said, see how she jogs this week. If she's still hanging out over on that left shaft, maybe it's time just to give her 3 weeks in the stall, just in case there's something starting there. Give her 3 weeks in the stall for it to cool down, and then kick her out in the field for the rest of the fall. So Twinkle in Her Eye and Garden State Dio are now done for the season. Good news is Will in Hanover's back jogging. We're going to jog her 2 to 3 weeks and then send her out to get her rest that she deserved. Broke her foot. She's back now, and from what I can see, looks 100%, which bodes well for both the prognosis, in my mind. 2 very similar injuries had occurred on No Free Lunch and Hill of Magic. So to see the 100% recovery and no residual soreness of any kind occurring on Will in Hanover is pretty uplifting. So happy with what's gone on so far. We're now entering the end of the stake season for a lot of horses. The finals are on September 5th in Ohio. Make sure Kelly's going to put in an RSVP. I need to know by Monday, I believe Monday at the latest, who's coming to the finals in Ohio, just for the dinners and whatnot. I believe upstairs in the clubhouse in Ohio. We need to know how many people are coming. So when you're going to need an RSVP on that, for those of you wanting to come from Ontario, I'm sure you can get across the border. You can't, might be able to help you out, maybe. But make sure to let Kelly know if you're coming to Super Final Night in Ohio. We have 2 in. Slim Jimmy and Sweet on Pete are in the finals. A little bit of luck today with our girl Taiwan on, and we're going to have her in the finals. And then obviously Bomb Hugger races on, I think it's September 10th or 12th in Yonkers. She's made the finals. A litany of horses, both in Kentucky, Ontario, Pennsylvania, Ohio, have all made the grassroots finals. Have already punched their ticket into there. And we got our little girl, 1-2 Skip a Few, who's already made the fair finals. So we've had a pretty good run this summer. No complaints. We've had horses in 3 jurisdictions make the super finals for the golds. As I said, a number of horses making the grassroots final. The fair final here for 1-2 Skip a Few. The sale season has already started. Those 2 babies already broke. I do have videos. I'll get them to you. I do have videos of them jogging. What had happened was Lauren went to video the one horse, and she recorded for 3.5 minutes. So not her fault. I just have to figure out how to chop that up. I should just send them all to Kelly. She'll chop them up, and you guys can have a look at them. Both cash deals. The Wheelin' and Dealin' Ontario bred filly, she looks awesome. And the little black guy looked as good on the track as he did in his video. He looks sharp. His name is Credit something. What was his name? I forget. The little Credit fella. He looks Credit Fashion, so it must be something on Credit. I don't know. But he looks very, very good. Very good in his video. So that's your midweek update. We'll talk to you all very, very soon.